So as data analysts, creating visuals like the charts, the graphs is like one of the things you would do. Good. And you also need to like do them well. But this is something that I struggle with. And I've also met other analysts that they struggle with too. We're good with numbers, we're good with like the coding, but then trying to like present the data into like something that people can easily see and they can really understand what the data is all about. So if I have like a data set, what are some process you would advise that I should go with in creating any visions that would, present insight from that data? Hello everyone, my name is Adekola and you're welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. In today's video, I have a global designer with me and he will be sharing some tips on how we can all level up our data visualization skill. I know this is something I struggle with, so the whole of this video is really just to learn some design principles, some design tips that can help me and also you that you're watching level up the skill as a data analyst. But before we go into like the main video, I also like the guests to introduce himself.
Hi, my name is Adura. I'm sorry that filming it's not a new thing to me, but like at the same time, this is all looking serious. And I'm not saying this is not serious, but like,
Is this serious?
yeah, I see myself as a very playful person, and
Be playful.
I try to curb it in real life, like when with other people. But hi, my name is Adura. I'm so many things, but today I wear the hat of a global designer, like you said. I have been designing for about 4 years now. I started designing sometime during the lockdown playfully, but later 2021 for real. I was experimenting with it because I liked fun stuff. I liked colorful things, right? So for me, design was a way for me to express what I was feeling like. And I'm not even trying to be unnecessarily deep here. I just liked that I could move rectangles and they looked good. Money was not the driving thing. Okay. I just wanted to see, okay, how can I design that people actually can use this thing? And when I was told that people were using a product that I built and over a couple of millions in Naira was going in and people were using it every day, I was like, wow. So for me, it's fulfilling that people are able to interact with my solution with ease, because it was much later in my career that I started to keep track of, okay, so how are people interacting with it? How did it make you feel? How can it be better, right? But so far so good. Design has been interesting, I won't lie.
Amazing. I mean, I've checked your personal websites and they look really good and very different. I'm actually being honest, guys. I'm going to link his website in the description box. But before we go into the main questions, I had two. It's supposed to be like fun questions. I hope they are. But what's like your favorite design tool and why?
Favorite design tool? Pen and paper.
Really?
I like to wireframe. So I'm sure you know what a wireframe is.
Yeah.
But of non-designers, wireframes is just a blueprint of what you want to design, right? I like that I can ideate, and with ideation, there is no limit. Think of it as I want to design a website, I want to design a mobile app, I want to design this particular software solution, and you are giving the words that users do X. This should be easy. Then you think to yourself, how can I turn these rectangles and these circles into what people can use? And it's beautiful because it's, as a designer, you have to have the gift of abstraction. So you can see things without being existing. So it's like, for me, wireframing does that. And so tools like your iPad that I will steal after this show, or a drawing tablet, or anything that lets me just explore the world of pen and paper, beautiful for me, has been helpful. And there are a lot of other solutions out there, but pen and paper, I think, is the goat of them all, personally.
Interesting. Then the second one would be, what's the worst piece of design advice you've ever received?
Well, I'm not on here to bash anybody's principle or whatnot, but personally, I genuinely believe that you need to create for humans. And what that means is there is a perception of design that everybody has, and design Twitter is one of the most toxic Twitter ever, side of Twitter ever. I'm saying this because you cannot beat me, right? The design Twitter is a very, very toxic place. Everybody is on the trend of my design is fine, my design is beautiful, my prototype is this, my prototype is that, ignoring that you are creating for actual people. And creating for actual people, people just want to make sure that a design is intuitive. I don't have to think. I need to be able to know what actions I need to carry out on this particular screen. I need to be able to go back to the previous screen. I need to be able to delete, and there's like a confirmation message to tell me, because I could accidentally hit delete. There's some core principles that designers think to themselves, as long as design is fine, it's good, as long as my prototype is fine. So I think this is not just one bad advice, it's more like a central concept of beauty is everything. Beauty is a lot in design. There's something called aesthetic usability effect, where the more beautiful it is, the more people tend to want to use it. But at the same time, it could just be beautiful and it's useless. So it's like, ultimately, create for actual people. Beauty should be secondary. So that's like worst advice that I've personally come across, directly or indirectly.
So we'll just go is like the main questions for the video. And I think this first question is more for me. So as data analyst, creating visuals like the charts, the graphs is like one of the things you would do.
Good.
And you also need to like do them well. But this is something that I struggle with, and I've also met other analysts that they struggle with. So we're good with numbers, we're good with like the coding, but then trying to like present the data into like something that people can easily see and they can really understand what the data is all about. So if I have like a data set, what are some thought process you would advise that I should go with in creating any visions that would, present insight from that data?
So bust your brain, I study statistics. First degree. So I know, I don't know to your professional level, but I have an idea as to a very cold truth that I would say when it comes to data presentation across board, stakeholders don't care. So you are the one that know the work that you've done. You are the one that know the hours of time that you.
I can so relate to that.
Think of it as a software as a service dashboard. I'm thinking of something. I don't know if you run Facebook ads, right? Yeah. So when you log into your Facebook dashboard, you just want to see how much you've spent. You want to see how much has been converted. You want to see how much is running.
That high level detail.
That's all. Think of it as when you want to speak. You already have a topic and you've done your research. When you climb that stage, half of the things that you have in your notepad, you may not be able to say it. But as long as you are able to establish the core messaging that, okay, these are the data that I want to explain. These are the data that is important right now. And then if you pick their interest, or if their interest is piqued enough and they ask, okay, what does this mean? Then you can now launch into so I guess for data visualization, know what the core things you want to present are, then present it. Think of it as a Google form. I'm sorry, I interact with a lot of these solutions, so I will continue to use a lot of softwares. Think of a Google form. If you are told to fill a form for, say, a course or a job, right? If you see a long, and this is a very relatable thing for everybody, when you see a job, whether it's your favorite company, if the job form is too long, you may not apply again because you are going to be dissuaded, like, why? What am I doing? What are we doing? But imagine that it is broken into 5 pages of Google form, but it is 5 questions per page. Like, once you are in, there's something called goal gradient effect, where the closer people get to their goal, the more they want to achieve it. So it's like, once you have just 5, is 25 questions. But if you show 25 questions at once, they're going to be overwhelmed, right? But if it's like 5 questions, then you are like three sections in.
I finished like the first 5 questions and there's like second one. Even though I might not be interested in like filling that.
You've started it. You want to, I might as well finish it. So yeah, you could break it down into stratas, but just make sure that the core thing is established at first. That's the way I address some of these things.
Yeah, that's very insightful. So just the key message here is, whenever you have, some data to work with and you're looking to like great visuals, the first thing you need to do is really just to understand the key message you want your audience to know, or like really just understand.
Yeah.
So I think my second question is, so we've understood trying to have like a key message I want to pass across. How then do I put that in like different visuals? Like how do I know like the right visuals to pick or how to arrange them? Like what are some tips that you can share that can guide anyone?
Art is subjective. Let me launch into my monologue by starting with that. Art is subjective. So we have UI, we have UX, user experience and user interface. User experience is what you feel while you are having fun with the interface, while you are pressing the screen and whatnot. Who are you presenting to? Who is your target audience? Right? If you are presenting some set of data to young people, you can use fanciful colors. You can use cool font and script type of font, and they can understand it. But if you have an older person who is just coming out of a meeting, is halfway during his day, is exhausted, he just wants to know the point of this meeting. As I'm looking at your graphs, at a glance, I should be able to know what I am saying.
And this is not just for design. If you're a content creator, who are you creating for? Create for them. If you're a food creator, who is eating your food? Cook for them. Dear business owners and founders, because I'm people's best friend. Everybody's not a target audience. There is no such thing as know your target audience and just kill it.
How do you think I should select the right colors for my visuals? How do I also know how to like balance the colors?
There is something in color theory called, I can't remember the concept of basically color theory, where you have analogous, you have complementary. Basically, we have the color wheel, a lot of colors, and two colors opposite each other on the color wheel are called complementary. Analogous colors are colors that they are at angle with each other, and those are the colors that work well with each other. There are tetra something where they're like 1, 2, 3, 4. Those 4 can work. You need to understand this. That's if you are mixing colors. However, when it comes to data visualization, just using tints and grays, tints and shades work. But what this means is, think of, can I make use of a color? Yeah. So we have this purple color here. On the color spectrum, there is lighter versions of this color, there's darker versions of this color. You could still mess around with just this color, but if you are going to be using 4 data points in your pie chart, you use the dark, so you could use it like, chronologically speaking. So lighter, slightly lighter, then the main color, then darker, then slightly darker, right? Because when you're experimenting with colors, if you get it right, you're a genius. If you miss it, sorry, let me speak English. You have gone to the bush, right? You have to either know it well or play it safe.
So how can I know it well? Are there like platforms that can help me to really understand how to combine colors?
Yes, Adobe has a tool like that. Okay. There is Colors. There is Paletton. Paletton is something that I default to easily. Okay.
Are they free?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. There is Picula. Picula helps you if you are thinking of a feeling that you want to go with. You can just type in the feeling and it gives you colors for that feeling.
Oh,
yeah. Picular, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
I think my next question will be around adding text to my designs or like my chart. What would you say is too much or too little?
Let me flip the script.
Okay.
Answer the question. let me be the interviewer. How do you do it?
I mean, for me, what I do also ties back to one of the things you said in I think your first point around just understanding the key message or like what you want your audience or like your user to like understand. I think that would influence like the text I would put, and also at the back of my mind is also just to put text that will be enough for them to understand what the chart is all about. So even if I'm not there, like the text that I have on my chart really just give them a picture of what I'm trying to like pass across.
What do you do about labels?
So about labels also goes back to what I'm trying to like pass across, right? So let's say I have a database and I'm trying to say, oh, these are the 5 companies that raised the most funding. Sorry, I work in the VC space. So this is like my data. And I want to say, oh, these are like the 5 companies that have raised funding within this period. If I decide to like use a bar chart to show that, it means that each of my bar will have the name of the company. And one of the things I will also do is even to look at the name of those 5 companies to see, are the names very short or like are they like longer names? That will also influence.
Because I was going to ask you that. I'm sure there's bars will have color coding.
Yeah.
Right. So is it that you are going to have the name of the company on the bar, or you're going to use the color code beneath or somewhere at an angle?
I mean, I think it also ties back with what you said around who are you creating this for.
Yeah.
So let's say I'm creating this chart for, let's say, my CEO. They already understand the space.
Yeah.
I won't even type the text. I will use the logo of the companies.
Brilliant.
Right. So yeah.
That's brilliant. You've answered your question.
No, we want design. We want a global designer to give us some tips.
Okay,
Yeah.
so when it comes to font is a very fun thing in design, right?
Really?
Yes, because there's a neat trick that almost every designer does at conferences when they're talking about fonts. There's a font called Comic Sans, and then there's a font called Papyrus, right? If I write, I will kill you in Papyrus, that's the type of thing you see in a horror film and you will run. But if I write, I will kill you Comic Sans, you think of this person, you look at it as this person is not a serious person yet. So first of all, brands always have some form of identity, whether outdated or not, whether modern or not, they have a form of identity. And what this means for their visual identity, it means colors, it means typography, it means shapes. So the first thing is to inquire what the font of the company is, right? Is it Times Roman? Times New Roman? Is it sans serif? Is it Futura? Right? When you know, if it's that this company doesn't have any font, then just go modern. Go with a sans serif. Example of sans serif that is a you don't get wrong ever with is Inter or Vertica or Roboto, which by the way Google is doing something with. But
I love Roboto.
Really? I think Google. I don't love it.
Okay.
But like it's cliche. Like I don't like cliches. And cliches are things that people have used too much.
Yeah, I mean it's a popular font.
Yeah.
It's just like Montserrat.
Yeah. Oh my days. So I was on the Montserrat grind one time when I started. I people looked down on it and I was using it because it was.
No, I love it. Yeah.
But one font that people should come and fight me for, and I'm ready for you. Poppins is Dustbin.
Oh, okay.
People that are designers, when they see this, they're going to be enriched, and I'm waiting for the fight. Poppins is legit Dustbin. It's fine. It's what I don't let me name call brands, but a lot of brands use, even in Nigeria, right? But anyways, to answer your question, I've just gone on a tangent. Know who you are creating for. Your font has to be readable, right? Make sure that you research the brand's font first. If the brand doesn't have any font, the next best thing that is more important is readability. So if I scale it from 12 pixels to 48 pixels, it is great without the font looking like you're shouting at me, right? And with font, we have things called weights. I could write, I am coming to see you in regular.
Okay.
And it's okay. Maybe 48px. And I write, I'm coming to see you in extra large. It will look like you are shouting. Think of it as you are chatting with your friend, and then there's one exclamation. That's fine. But think of 5 exclamations. Yeah, why are you shouting at me? Right? But these things are, because design is intuitive, you don't know that we know it, we just know it. So you need to understand font weight, understand font hierarchy. Those two things, very important.
Interesting. Okay, just to recap, for anyone watching, so we talked about really understanding who you're trying to present the data to.
Yes.
I think that would guide you on like the colors to use, the visuals to use, and you also share some tips on how you can go about this.
Yes.
But I like one of the things you said, because I recently just recruited for a data role in my organization, and one of the tasks we gave like the candidate is also just creating some charts and graphs. I mean, there were some that did pretty well, but you mentioned around using like the brand font.
Yeah.
So if I don't work with that organization, is there a way to know the font an organization use? Is there like a tool?
Brilliant question. And this is something that almost every designer has. I like to think almost every designer know, but it's very wrong of me to assume that people know that.
I don't know that.
When you are applying for a job, it gives you extra points when you are using the company's color code and typography, even without the company telling you, right? And what this means is you could just, a simple Google search or a LinkedIn search, go to their website, go to their LinkedIn. Obviously, you can't see fonts from LinkedIn, but go to their designs. There are 2 ways in which you can get fonts. You can get fonts from either designs or from their websites. Now, if you're getting their fonts from the design, there are tools that you could use that you just take a screenshot of the picture and then take it to the tool, and it's going to give you the name of the font. Example is Font Squirrel. Right? There's a lot more, but Font Squirrel is what comes to mind. Right? For getting a font from the website, there is Fonts Ninja. Yeah, Font Ninja is a Google extension, a Chrome extension that once you select it, it shows you the font, the weight, the type, everything, the whole anatomy of the font from the company's website. So that is one way to know what typography to use, and there's even the color scheme extensions that you can use as well.
That can help you to really just understand. Interesting. And I also like what you said, because in like the submissions of this candidate, there are some that used our brand colors, and there were some that used colors that were so different, and that was like a no, to be honest. So yeah, if you're watching and you're probably trying to like apply for a role and they gave you like a tax, just try and I'm also going to like link some of the tools you mentioned on how you can use it to like, make all these submissions. I think my final question would be, as someone that is really just looking to like improve like their design skills in getting better in like presenting data, what are some of the tips you would recommend?
For data presentation, data is the most important thing, and what that means is data points. What this means are charts. What this means are highlights. By data points, what do I mean? Think of a dashboard. People want to know figures. Now, from the figures, I need to be able to filter. For example, I have a bank account, right? I want to see how much I've used for my 30 December, right? I open it on my on my laptop, and then I can see incoming, outgoing, pending transaction. If you have more data points to show, you can compress incoming, outgoing, pending in one square, because you can just use a drop down, right? It's in the drop down that you can now filter. This could be transaction, right? In the drop down, you can now select incoming, going, and pending, or outward. In the next one, it could be volume. Volume is how many transactions you've done, right? It could be same filtering system, right? That way, if you have to present a lot of data, you can compress it using those drop down. That way, I know that, okay, I want to know incoming. Let me just look at this one. Let me outgoing. I want to know this one. As opposed to saying, oh, you want to present everything at once. That's not the way to go, right? Simplicity is everything. Know what you want to present. In this case, it is data set or data points, charts, and highlights. Now, we've talked about data points, which is trying to compare some things together, not just showing everything in their face, and showing what is very important. Now, what I mean by important is, I don't want to log into my app and the first thing I'm saying is my transaction history. What do I want to do with that? I want to know how much I have left in the account.
Can I still continue my debt?
Do you understand? And there's something called industry, there's conventions. I think it's called Hicks Law.
Okay.
Please, this could be wrong. Hicks Law is basically, people have used so many platforms. You don't want to be innovative in this point, because people are going to use the idea of your competitor's platform to open your own. So make sure that as they're opening your own looks something similar to every other thing that they've used, right? All you infuse is the brand identity and everything. So when it comes to data points, make sure your data point is clear, is concise. You don't have to show all of each chart at once. You can give the option of saying, convert this particular chart to a pie chart, a bar chart, histogram, or whatever type of chart is available, a Gantt chart. I don't know if it's GNAT or Gantt, right? So you can use a Gantt chart as well, right? Give user autonomy. This is why people love Notion. Notion gives you a blank page. Whatever you want to do is up to you, right? At the same time, you want to hold your hand. This is where AppInt comes in. This is when maybe you download an app and it says, 5 steps to do this, so that you don't just leave them and let them just figure it out, right? So please don't overwhelm users with data. Finally, highlights. What I mean by highlights are, some things are not words. Sorry, they're not numbers, they're not figures, they're not charts, but they are words that is important. Like, for example, somebody just removed 500,000 naira from your account, right? Or transaction history, basically. There are some things that are just highlight, or while we were shuffling through this data, we discovered this anomaly, right? That is also important. So think of it as 3 rows. Row 1 could be your data point, the really important thing, your account balance, your transaction volume, right? I'm speaking in UI UX terms. And the next row could be your charts, right? Your charts could be pie chart, bar chart, Gantt chart, Kanban, whichever choice of data visualization you're going with. And the final one can now be the points that are important that are not data values and they're not charts. That way, at an eyesight, I can see, okay, Mr. A left a comment on this particular data set, or this data set was last modified on this date by Mr. A. These are key things that users want to know about their own dashboard. So yeah.
Interesting. I think the last point you mentioned also ties back to like the text question I mentioned earlier around also just knowing what is too much or like too little when you have all this.
And please, pagination is a thing. Dear data people, pagination is a thing. What this means is you don't have to show everything on first page.
Yeah.
You can give users the option to next page.
Or
that is why
if
Google, that in its infinite wisdom, because Google is today's IFA. If Google in its infinite wisdom has pagination, who are you, bros? Do better.
Do better.
So yeah.
Okay, I think we've covered all the questions, and this has been really, really great for me. Like I said, this is something I struggled with, so I know this video will be very useful to other data analysts that are watching. So thank you so much for coming here. So if people want to like reach out to you, how do you think that can be done?
My website is adura.design. Just type adura.design on your web. Whatever you use, whether it's Chrome or anything, adura.design. Reach out to me via email, abiola@gmail.com. And my Instagram, I'm trying to be serious with my life. So my Instagram, I won't give you my personal Instagram, but I'll give you my work Instagram.
Yes,
adura.design is my work Instagram. So reach out to me. And if you want to see me banter on Twitter, I swear, I'm not that hard to find. Just type my name on Google, you see it.
And your name is kind of like different. Like you won't find a lot of like Aduras.
A lot of people have murdered that name.
Oh, the way they pronounce it.
Oh my days. Bro, and obviously Nigerians know the name, but like
because you work with like foreigners.
Oh my days. No, don't say that though. Don't.
I'm trying to call your trumpet.
But my point is, a lot of people have murdered the name, and I'm fine with it.
No, I think I love your name.
Really?
Yeah. But before we go, I actually have one final question.
Okay.
Is there any resource that you can share for anyone that is also like level up their design skills? That can also really just help them with like all the colors, the alignments, and the every other element we've mentioned.
Let me see. I'm thinking of a wholesome solution. Well, this works for a UI UX designer. There's something called checklist.design.
Okay.
All right, you can check that out.
What does that have?
So it has everything you need. It has design articles. It has design UI concepts. It has all of everything you need. If you're looking for, okay, you need to get better on this particular thing, you find it there.
And they're free?
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Adura, once again for coming to this channel. Like I said, this video will be very useful, even to me. Very, very useful. So thank you so much, guys, for watching. I hope you've picked one or two things. If you really love this video, don't forget to like, share, subscribe with your friends and your frenemies and your exes. See you guys in my next video. Bye.